Merry meet, fiber magicians. My name is Opal Luna. I am a crone priestess of Minerva and the author of the upcoming Llewellyn book, Fiber Magic, A Witch's Guide to Spellcasting with Crochet, Knotwork, and Weaving. I'm sharing the cover of the book with you now because the book itself has yet to manifest in the material world. But there is an available link to pre-order at Llewellyn.com. And don't forget to use your code LLCON30 to get 30% off. So we really thank you, Llewellyn, for this opportunity, and thank you all for joining me. And here we go. So let's begin this session by lighting a candle and reciting the Fiber Magic poem. A picture in the mind so clear, it must travel down the artist's arm and come alive to meet the world as blanket fair or clothing warm. Hidden deep beneath the threads, love so strong it will not fade. So much more is passed along when we give life to that handmade. Blessed be. Fiber Magic is about the spirituality of working with our hands. Our energy will get into the things we make, whether we mean it to or not, without even trying. So why not do it intentionally? Fiber magic happens when we are mindful of the energies that we put into our work. Doing so will improve the effectiveness of spells and magical objects, or add a touch of magic to everyday items. The concept of fiber magic begins with knot magic. Once upon a time, if the stories are to be believed, witches tied the wind in knots and sold the ropes to sailors. Then, in the doldrums, they could untie those knots, and the wind would pick up, and the sailors be carried back to port. Imagine such an energy as the wind reduced down to a knot in a rope. But much like sigil magic, where a big energy is contained in a small place, just waiting to be released, our knots can carry our energy. Now think about crocheting, knitting, embroidery, macrame, whatever your fiber magic is. We are tying hundreds of knots. The potential for magic there is great. This is why I have approached crocheting as I would performing magic. And the first thing that we do when we are doing magic is to ground and center ourselves. And this is especially important in fiber magic. Just like magic, your mood when crafting will affect the energy that gets into your work. It would be counterproductive for you to make a poppet of healing, let's say, and infuse it with the stress that you felt at work today. No good. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants my crazy in their poppet, that's for sure. So now we have yarn and hook to the rescue. Ta-da-da! These tools can be used to reduce stress. Even if you don't crochet yet, you can add this practice to your daily life and it will be beneficial. And good news for those who have tried to crochet and never got past the chain stitch. Sometimes that's all you need. All right. Allow me to demonstrate. All crocheting starts with a slip stitch. Very good. We call it a slip stitch because you don't pull the end of the yarn through, and when you pull it, it'll slip out. Boop. So let's use that to our advantage by creating a magical spell. Make your slip stitch. Put your hook in there. And then yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Just like normal chaining. But now, take all that stress that you have in your neck and your shoulders. That thing that the boss said to you yesterday. Pour that into the yarn as you make the chain and trap it in there. Okay? So yarn over and trap that stress. Yarn over and trap it. Focus and trap it. Trap it, trap it, trap it. All the stress of the day is now trapped inside these chains. All right, here we go. You've got all your stress in this chain. You're focusing on it. We're going to take a deep breath and count to 3, and then we're going to pull these ends, both ends, quick, and release all that stress. Get it away from us, far out into the universe where it can be transformed into something better than what we had. We have no longer any use for this. Deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Pull. Be gone. I like the snap at the end. That really tells me, boom, it's gone far away and it's not coming back. Now I'm ready to do some magic, or get in the car and go up on the highway, or attend that business meeting that I got to do. You'll think of lots of ways to use that. Keep your ball of yarn and your hook in the car or in your bag. And don't stress. All right. So Fiber Magic now goes on to blend the principles of sympathetic magic with the knot magic. Okay? Using much the same correspondences that you would use while doing candle magic. We're going to add layer and layer of intentions, right? So that we can paint that clear picture in our minds that will travel down our arms and manifest into the real world. Let's pick up the yarn again. This time, we're going to think about what this yarn is made of. This yarn is cotton, strong cotton from the earth. The magical properties of cotton are strength and healing and protection. That's a good place to start. This yarn is also green. So green means new beginnings, health, wealth. I see. We got a theme going here. Health, protection, prosperity. I like it. In abundance. Green also means abundance. Let's add something more. I've got some rosemary oil. I love rosemary oil. I love the smell, and I love the fact that it is good for so many things. But yeah, healing and protection. Breathe some of it in. What's your most important tool in your magical toolbox? Self, right? You infuse yourself with some of that beautiful rosemary. I'm going to put the lid on it so I don't infuse the entire desk with that rosemary. There we go. Add a little bit to your yarn. Not too much. You don't want your hook slipping in and out. But now you've got several layers of intention working for you. You've got cotton, you've got green, and you've got rosemary. So think about that and focus. Create yourself a little chant to focus what all that will mean to you. How about health and wealth in abundance? Ooh, let's make our slip knot. The whole world needs some of that. I know I do. So now, as you're chaining, you're actually filling those chains with your intention, which is health and wealth and abundance. Health and wealth in abundance. Health and wealth in abundance. One more time. Health and wealth in abundance. So moted beat. All right. Now, this is not something we want to get rid of. Right? So hold up your little chain. Breathe it in. Health and wealth and abundance. Just fill yourself up with that idea. And now, as proof that you know for a fact that there is no limitations on the universe's blessing, we're going to send the rest out. We've taken everything we need. We're going to send the rest out to where it's needed. And there's so many places right now it's needed. Believe me. You can do this for a particular person or situation, or you can just let the universe decide where it's needed most. All right? Take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. So mote it be. Fiber magic should never drain you because you're always going to fill yourself up first and give the excess out to where it's needed. Right? Health and wealth in abundance to you all. So those two exercises gives you an idea of what fiber magic is all about. And from there, you just keep adding layer upon layer of intentions. For instance, how about dyeing this yarn with some natural plant materials? That means you add the correspondences of that plant to the yarn. So you got cotton, which is a plant to begin with, and it's got its protection and healing. But then you soak this in a bath that you made from onion skins, which also connotes healing and protection, and you have enhanced this yarn to super yarn. So then you take the pattern that's in the book for the little angel, sigil, and you make it with that yarn, and you have a guardian angel. See? You're only limited by your own imagination. Something else that we do when we're crafting is count stitches. We can't help it. We can't get around it. You got to count the stitches or you're going to get messed up. So why not make it part of the magical process? I have assigned an attribute to each of the numbers so that when you're increasing or doing a certain number of rounds or rows or stitches, then you can have that extra focus in mind and add that intention. If you're making a pouch to hold your dice, you're going to want to use multiples of 7 so that you add luck to that bag. And those dice stay in that lucky bag until you need them. Just some ideas. Dedication to a crafty deity is also beneficial, like my Minerva. My Minerva helps me immeasurably in my crafting and in my daily life, and giving back to teachers and other crafters just comes naturally when you are a priestess of Minerva. All in all, I have put 71 projects in this book. What you see around me is only half of what's in the book. These are actually the pieces that were photographed for the book. Every project has a color photograph to go along with it. I'm so blessed and thankful to Llewellyn to put my idea into print. All right. My approach with these projects is to take you from consecrating your tools, right? And then preparing yourself to do the magical, to perform the magic, and then blessing the finished item. So, full service, right? And my hope is that it will make the crafter a little more spiritual and the magic practitioner a little more crafty. All right, there we go. Well, I want to see if you have any questions for me, but first I want to blow out this candle so I don't forget. And I have a blessing to share with you all. Blow out this candle, but hold it dear. To everyone gathered here, have peace at home and health, my friends, until this candle burns bright again. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Thank you very much. And please feel free to contact me on fibermagic.com and follow the link to join the Fiber Magic Coven on Facebook. We have all kinds of crafters there. Let's see. I see Houston, and oh my goodness, thank you. Wow. I can't wait to get the book. Goodness, where's your questions? All right. Oh, thoughts on knitting? I don't knit myself, but my daughter does beautiful work, and it is magical. My granny taught me to crochet when I was 8 years old, and I always felt that there was a spirituality in it, even crochet or knitting or any of it. You know, especially when you're making something for someone else, you're going to think as you do, that, you want them to receive this present in good health and happiness and what have you. Well, when I was then introduced to paganism and candle magic and My other granny is from Italy, and I read Raven Grimassi, and I read Patty Wigington, and I read Silver Ravenwolf, and all the folk magic, and back when folk magic um, and folk medicine were the same, I was like, I've got to use this as a vehicle. There's a question. Angie wants to know, do you always use natural fibers? I will use natural fibers in straight up magic, and especially if I'm going to do sigils that will be buried or burned, definitely natural fibers when you're doing something like that. But when I'm doing regular crochet, although there's no such a thing as regular crochet, but I am not a yarn snob. I will use acrylic. Several of the things, most of the things you see behind me are made from acrylic. It's accessible, it's colorful, and it's washable and all that good stuff. Is there a section on counted cross stitch or other embroidery? Terrence Ward wants to know. Well, not per se. We do mention stitches. For instance, putting the stitches on your sigils. You know, I talk a little bit about embroidery and embellishment. So more so embellishment than counted cross stitch. But of course, you can still use the principles of counting your stitches and apply those meanings to the count, most definitely. Let's see. Is the witch's hat pattern in your book? Everything you see is in the book. Hat, mermaid, horned god, mandala, these guys, everything. This is only half of what's in the book. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I hope everyone picks up crocheting at least a little bit, just to use for your magical. How do you put in the sigils? You put energy in the sigils. The same way you would the chains. The chains are a good example of crocheting with intention. And can you please state your Facebook again? Yes, Fiber Magic with a K. K is very important. FiberMagick.com, Fiber Magic on Facebook, Fiber Magic on Instagram, Fiber Magic on Twitter, Fiber Magic on Tumblr, Fiber Magic on YouTube. I plan, when the book comes out, I plan to do more videos and so that we can see the spells being cast. Would your book be suitable for a beginner? Absolutely. It starts right from the beginning. It has the illustrations of the stitches, so you can start right from the beginning. And I put everything in order so that you start with the chain stitch, and then you go back again, learn each stitch and what I have called them, like single crochet is for water. On the earth is the slip stitch. It's amazing. This is 300 pages and I don't know if there's anything left in my brain. Oh goodness. Oh, someone has shared my links. Thank you so much. Yeah, beginner, either crochet or magic user, or even I sent it out for very experienced crocheters and experienced magic users, and they still thought that there was something in there. Do you talk about prayer shawls? Yes, I do. And there is a pattern for a prayer shawl that I don't have with me right now. And that kind of was the transition that I went from Christianity to paganism. I realized I had been doing this sort of thing all along. and praying while you crochet or knit or quilt or whatever it is you do. Definitely those prayers get into those shawls. I have several pieces that are in hospice, still in hospice from my my husband's grandmother, and they continue to give people comfort. Sometimes I think about them, and when I do, I send them a little oomph. I think I missed a question. Do you shield your space before working? Yes. The chapter on, there is a chapter in the book that goes through grounding, centering, casting a circle, just write down like all the magical steps, cleansing your area and shielding your area. And there is a whole section on protection. Yes, I do. I crochet in a bubble if I really doing something serious for someone who's sick. Yeah. I've always found it, Lou said, I've always found it hard to crochet. Any tips for the new beginners? Yes, relax. Relax. Let that yarn just move itself. If you try too hard, those chains are going to get so tight you'll never get your hook back in them again. I have a student that claims her FIBER MAGICK is transformation, right? I showed her how to make a bowl and she ended up making a volcano. You know, it was just, that's what she did. So she just went with it. Instead of getting disheartened and saying, I'll never be able to do this, she just went with it. Now she can actually make things that look like the things she set out to make. She had to find her own way with it. Relax, have fun, and find your way with it. Okay. Someone said, by the way, in system vector psychology, green is the color of all natural. That's good to know. These would be great items to infuse with Reiki. I thought that when I went through my Reiki attunements. When I found out about long distance healing and Reiki banks, come on. I was all over that. And that is the same principle. If you do Reiki, you can infuse these with Reiki healing. Yes, and then share them with others. All right. What else we got? I love how a lot of the magic goes into the stitching. How do you reinvigorate a work? Okay, well, if you're talking about that that item as a Reiki bank, okay, say I made this mermaid for somebody who wanted it, and they're going to use it as their emotional support poppet, and I make it infused with healing. Okay, well, I kind of have a connection to the things I make, right? And even after I give it away, I can send, using the long distance healing techniques, send her a little zhuzh whenever she pops into my mind, because I feel like there must be a reason for it. And you really should practice listening to your intuition. You'll get more and more of it if you practice like a muscle. You know, you can strengthen it, and you'll think about a blanket that you made a while back, and you're like, maybe that person needs a little extra. So always for the greater good, and if the person is still receptive, I'm going to send love and light to that blanket and picture that person wrapping themselves up in it tonight and feeling comforted. unfortunately, it's time for me to wrap it up. But I want to thank you all again. I want to tell you to stay crafty, and I'll see you on Facebook, right?